So we'll try prestidigitation for her.
All right, wisdom check with advantage. Well, that's no fun. You didn't turn either of them purple. Terp says, likewise, suddenly dry and feeling much warmer than she was a moment ago.
All right, Maria, how about you?
Maria just kind of makes a face at him and then grumbles and swears like, all right, go ahead, thanks.
As you've done it twice already, you don't need to roll for it anymore. You're able to just wave your hand and she is dry.
Alright, that feels better.
Yeah, there's a surprising amount of utility to these wizard spells.
You on past the gate and you come back up to where the shops are. You notice the first one you see is a goldsmith, it looks like. And then the one that has a nice sign out front that says Sveffa's Goods and Sundries. The next one is curious. It looks somewhat like a cheese shop. And at the very end, the first or last house, depending upon if you're coming or going, looks sort of like an old church, except it's a nice shape. It's got a nice little garden around it. It's got a little tower on top. Doesn't look exactly like a steeple, but it kind of resembles one. It also kind of resembles something else.
What's the something else?
A penis.
Oh.
With the garden being like the bush.
And the house itself being the testicles, yes. All those squares.
Maria starts howling.
So it might be a little bit of a phallic shape to this house.
Yuna's gonna look at Lady V and see just see her reaction.
Lady V is kind of on the ground, like basically on her balls of her feet and just holding her face.
Lady V, can I give you a hug?
There is no answer. Her body language kind of says, please don't hug me at this moment, I need to recoup.
Perception check.
For who?
For you.
Does it involve smell?
Nope. Alright, well, looks like the first roll was an 11, so you're not 100% able to read, so if you decide to try to go for a hug, it's because you weren't able to read her body language.
Wouldn't that be more insight than perception?
Yeah. Is that a different modifier for you? Because that's a pretty nice modifier.
No, same mod.
Alright, well, it comes out to the same thing then. Anyway, so you're at the house. You can try to hug her if you'd like.
We're at the wizard's place, Lady V. Maybe now the madness can end and you can get some information. Come on.
Maybe he doesn't mean to live in a house shaped like that. Maybe it was just already that shape, but it was the only place that was available. I mean, plenty of erect buildings around here. Not exactly like you can afford to be picky.
How close is Jim?
Jim is making sure to stay at least 5 steps away from everyone because he knows someone's going to slap him at some point.
She's going to move to slap him.
Alright.
He's going to turn and run.
Dex check for both of you.
Wait, what?
Do a dex check for both of you. He is able to stay out of your grasp, or out of reach of your slap.
And while she's just gonna call him a sheep's testicles. And then just she'll walk away for a moment, and you just see her like tucking hairs back and adjusting herself, and a weird sigh, and then she just turns on her heel, and her face is stone cold again. You need to meet him? So let's get this done.
Alright. Yuna's gonna knock on the door.
Remember, everyone, let's be humble here. We don't want to get too cocky.
Knock on wood. And Yuna knocks on the door.
Lady V's gonna see if she can just grab a hold of Jim without trying to slap him this time.
Dex checks
Oh.
for Jim and for V. This time she's able to grab you. You're not quick enough because you're right there at the door.
And she's just gonna promptly, lift him up in the air enough so his feet aren't touching anymore.
Strength check. Well, you kind of lift his clothes a bit. His feet don't leave the ground.
That's enough for now.
The door opens. There doesn't appear to be anyone there who actually opened it.
Alright, Yuna's gonna walk inside.
Announce yourself first and say hello to the owner. We don't want to violate the space.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna do that as I walked in.
Apology.
Hello, Cooney? We'd like to talk if you have a free moment.
You enter
may-
a very neat and clean sitting area. There's a nice couple comfortable looking chairs, a sofa, a table, a cuckoo clock on the wall, stairs going towards the up into the tower at the back of the room. And just as you're speaking, elf comes walking down the stairs, and he says, "I'm sorry, who are you looking for?"
Are you Cooney?
No, I am Canny.
My apologies.
If you're looking for Kuntuni, she lives in the mansion at the top of the hill.
No, forgive me. Your names have phonetic similarities. Canny is who we're looking for, so we're looking for you.
Well, you have found me.
Nice to meet you. My name's Yuna.
I know.
Oh, you do?
Well, you were here just yesterday. What is it you want now? And did you find the one who broke my window?
Okay, let's just back up a bit here. See, in between when we last saw you and now, my companions and I, we were all afflicted by something. Our memories have been scrambled, discombobulated. So, don't expect any of us to actually remember that we spoke to you previously.
He suddenly looks a little more interested. Oh, do tell. How did this happen exactly? Do you know?
Nope.
Here's what we've managed to determine via investigating the scene. And Jim will explain how they found the big explosion crater, but the body in it wasn't burned. The general symptoms of, we don't have any memories of our avatar's lives, but we have memories of our previous lives. Some of us seem to have more in common with our avatar states than others do. Just the whole sort of power word blah thing.
So, is he just gonna reveal the whole other world thing then?
Might as well. I mean, if this guy's going to help us, he needs to know what's going on. Did people not want that to happen? I kind of thought that was the point.
So, yes, Kenny, we are, or at least we believe we are, people from another universe entirely, having been somehow taken out of our bodies and transported into the bodies you see before you.
He muses for a moment. Well, yesterday, in the evening, I did feel a large surge of magical energy. It was brief, but quite noticeable. So I suppose that must have had something to do with your state. The presence or existence of other worlds is certainly something that has been debated. So I suppose you may be telling the truth about that, or you may be deluded. No way for me to know right now. What is it you would have of me?
Well, that was one of the foremost things, to see if you know anything at all about what may have happened to us. If you've ever heard of anything like this or anything similar.
I have heard of delusions. I've heard of mass delusions. That certainly seems to be, in my mind, the likeliest thing that is happening here. Especially if you were in close proximity to whatever it is that happened. It may have altered all of your minds in a similar way. The presence of other worlds has been speculated, and certainly within the realm of possibility. So I certainly do not cast aside that as a possibility. But what could have caused such a thing other than the gods themselves? I don't know that I've ever heard of any spell that would cause switching between worlds. But certainly any sort of modified mass confusion spell or something like that might possibly cause delusions, if that's the case. In that case, I would suggest perhaps going to one of the temples and seeing if someone can do a greater restoration, and see if they can bring you back to yourselves.
May I ask you something first?
Why not?
Do you have any books on mechanisms, mechanical, or any other thing?
Well, I have many books on any other thing, but no, I am not an engineer. I have books on magic and books on the theories of the universe. I remarked upon this the last time you were here. As far as I'm aware, there's no one who could build you. It is a mystery, and one that I've already brought to the Lyceum. And in fact, I extend my offer again, if you so choose, to come with me to the Lyceum. I will pay you handsomely to allow them to study you.
Unfortunately, I do not remember this conversation, so you may have to re-explain what this Lyceum is.
The Lyceum is the school for magic in Bruhala. That's where the greatest wizards of the world go to do their studying, as Elric here can attest. Well, previous Elric could have attested, apparently.
Sort of a moment when Elric hears the name Lyceum, Bruja, and Magic School, and there's sort of like a click in the back of his head, and it's sort of like, I was there. I don't remember all of it, but I was definitely there.
Lady V looks at Jim for a second, then looks back to Kani and just slowly looks down at her feet. It really doesn't know exactly what to say or do now, because no books or anything. So it takes her a while, but then she shakes her head a bit, and then asked, oh, by chance, do you have any tools that I could borrow for the evening then?
What sort of tools?
Well, any tools that would be able to disassemble or try to shape things.
I am no engineer. I do not have that sort of tools, no. Now, if you would take me up on your offer, 5,000 gold, we go to the Lyceum, they take you apart. We can find out what you are and how you work.
Whoa!
Are they going to be able to safely put her back afterwards?
Oh, I'm sure we could.
You ain't going no 8T on my girl here.
It is simply an offer. If you really want to learn about yourself. There's clearly some magical components to you. I mean, you just scream magic, so there has to be some component of it to you. It is a curiosity.
She's going to look back to the wizard and ask, do you have any books about Kufa? The magical energy, do you have any books on that?
I have books on Nyreach, which is the energy that magic is made from.
Okay, so that's what you call it.
Well, that is what we call it. I am aware that there was, in the past, other words for it. I believe Kufa, or some form of that word, was one of those. So I believe it means the same thing.
May I borrow one of those books for the evening?
Certainly not.
Look, it will give me time to think over your offer again.
Certainly not.
Please, I am begging you. Like you said, I don't know anything right now. It's rather terrifying. I would just like somewhere to start with you. If you can just give me something to start with. What are your books? Or just something to distract for a moment. A mirror or just something that I can work with. And you can tell like Lady V's voice is getting a little flushed. Because she's obviously like been really wanting to ask questions, and now it's like another roadblock. She's like, please, just can I have something from you? Just for the night.
Maybe we could work out some sort of trade. Like, say, you could spend some time studying Lady V's inner workings while she's reading the book.
I would not be able to do that without taking her apart, and as we've just discussed, I don't have the tools for something like that.
Lady V's gonna reach into her kind of bag and she's gonna pull out like the few sets of tools that she has, which is like wood carvers and a few other tools. It's like, can any of these be worked on? To like maybe disassemble a leg or an arm? What?
I am not a mechanic, I am not an engineer, I do not know.
Then damn it, give me something so I can do it myself.
I don't know what you expect from me. I can cast a spell on you to explode you into a million pieces. I do not work with tools. I don't do that kind of thing. I do not know how to take you apart. That's why we need to go to the Lyceum.
Is there really any harm in just letting her borrow a book for a night?
I don't know what strange world apparently you come from, but books here are scarce, and none of mine will leave this house, no.
To be fair, we are apparently the people who dealt with him yesterday, now claiming to be completely different people from an alternate dimension. I think we're kind of lucky he's still letting us stay in his house. I mean, be in his house. Obviously, we're not staying here. I think it's good.
Perhaps if you go to the blacksmith, maybe they can help you. Take yourself apart.
Or maybe even the goldsmith. They're probably used to working with like little pieces and bits of things, right?
I'm certainly that Kemketso has tools.
What if she were to stay the night here and study the book? Then it wouldn't leave your house.
Yes. What if I stayed?
You all seem to have mistaken my home for a library. Or for a house for bartering.
Maria's like, taking a deep breath, don't go spouting off.
It's an intrusion. I realize that, but you obviously value knowledge, so surely you can relate to that desire in other people.
Yes, so come with me to the Lyceum, and we can learn things together.
Yo, Lady V, you need to think about this.
I know.
Well, this has been entertaining and certainly interesting. But I have work to do, if you don't mind.
Can I press you for one more question? Well, one more topic?
I suppose.
There's a big gate out in the town. You said it was nothing to be concerned about to the mayor. Do you know anything beyond that?
I said it was nothing that I'm concerned about. Whether it's something to be concerned about for the mayor is certainly a different question.
Is it something to be concerned about to the mayor?
Possibly.
Okay, well, we're sort of working on the mayor's behalf. Any information you could give us about it would probably be good for the town.
You are a wizard. You'll be able to determine exactly the same thing I was able to determine.
Okay, fair enough.
If you are indeed able to use.
Alright, anybody got anything else?
Yeah, I'm done with this dude.
Very well. Consider my offer. Good day. And he turns around and heads back up the stairs as the door reopens behind you.
Thank you for your time, sir. I'm sorry, hopefully we didn't arouse you too much away from whatever it was you're doing. And Jim quietly quickly walks out the door, trying to escape Lady V.
And Lady V just walks without talking.
So you head to the gate. Arcana check, anyone who wants to try it? Assuming
Sure.
that's what you would want to do. So, Jim can feel definite something magic going on there. Maria can kind of feel sort of a hint of something there. Lady V is too distracted and distraught from the disappointment of Canny to feel anything. So you walk up to the gate. It is gigantic. Looks like something straight from a fancy cathedral, but it's painted a blood red, which is probably why people have been calling it the Blood Gate.
That's some straight up anime shit right there.
Yeah, I'm expecting members of the Soul Society to come bursting out of that thing. Well, I guess the next logical step would be to cast, either Identify or Detect Magic.
Detect magic, I think.
And we'll briefly look to Maria and think, do I want to try and trick her into touching it somehow in case it's electrified? Then he'll think, no, she's had enough, and he'll just go over and just try and touch the door himself.
And while Jim does that, Lady V, she's gonna take a moment and look at the door, and would I be able to cast Identify if I did touch the door?
If you have the spell, you can cast it.
Yeah, I do have the spell.
Yeah.
Alright. Did you cast Detect Magic, Jim?
Yeah, let's go with Detect Magic. Do it as a ritual, so spend the 10 minutes.
Alright. Well, as you're spending 10 minutes, Lady V tries to identify the gate, but doesn't get anything of interest of it. As far as that spell's concerned, it looks just like a gate. At the end of your Detect Magic, you have confirmation of what your Arcana sense told you. Definitely something magic going on here, but you're not sure what.
Okay, how about a regular old investigation of the door? Look for, like, runes or a sign or something.
Okay, investigation check. It appears to be a door with, as you get closer, you can see the red is painted on, but not extraordinarily well. You're not sure if that's because it's aged. It looks more like it was more like a rust job.
Okay, Jim will try knocking out it 3 times.
There were 2 rolls I wanted to make on this thing before. One being perception to sniff if the air around this door is any different.
Mm-hmm.
And also survival to see what the ground immediately around the door is like.
All right. You smell It smells of wood and paint. And it smells of fresh wood and fresh paint. The ground does look like the ground. I mean, it's not as grassy as the areas around it. It's kind of tromped down dirt.
All right, another perception check to put our ear against the door and listen.
Okay. You just kind of mutes out sound. It's just like putting your ear against a door and there's nothing on the other side. In short, you don't hear anything suspicious or out of place.
Is the door hinge to open towards us or away from us?
Away from you.
Jim will look to the others. I'm thinking we open it. Anything nasty on the other side, we close it real quick.
Assuming we'll be able to.
What other option do we have at this point?
Well, we've got options, but what the hell? Maybe there's a black hole on the other side.
Alright, so who's physically the strongest here?
I think that's Chirps.
Because I only have like a +1 in strength.
Like Terps or shrugs. I don't know. I feel kind of strong. What is it you want me to do?
Okay, we have two approaches here. We have Terps open the door. We take a quick look inside. Then if there's anything nasty, she pulls it closed. She's the strongest to do it. Or, because this thing seems to absorb sound, we try to sneakily crack open the door and look inside. Of course, I already knocked on it, so they may have already heard us. What do you guys think?
I say just have Terps open it, and we can stand out of the way of the door in case anything terrible immediately comes out. Sorry, Terps.
She just shrugs.
Alright, in that case, one last precaution. Jim takes out his rope, ties it to the handle, and lays it on the ground next to everyone, so if they all need to really just yank the door closed really quick, they have that option.
Alright.
Alright, go for it, Terps.
Oh, she'll grab the door and put all her strength behind it, try to pull.
This turns out to be a room full of D&D players, I swear.
You try pulling on the door and nothing happens.
Terps, you gotta push it.
Yeah, well, then she'll try to push on the door.
It opens easily. Strength save for everyone.
What, strength save on everyone?
Strength save.
Yep.
No, wait, hold on, that was a check. Oh, never mind, it's the same for me.
The door opens of its own volition, and no matter what Terps tries, she cannot keep it from opening all the way. Behind it, a gaping black hole that seems to glow, and as you watch, there's a rushing of wind. A rushing of wind, and you all feel yourself yanked forward. And you claw, you try to grab the rope and close the door, you try to stop it, and you are just sucked into the gate.
Oh, fuck!
Oh!
You fall into nothingness. You can't hear, feel anything, yet somehow you can sense that you're falling at a tremendous rate. Something appears, light, distinct shapes, what appears to be a mountaintop. Then, darkness, and the sounds of horses and a wagon over rough ground. A voice speaks.
Are you for real?
Yes. Well, this is the least likely thing I was expecting.
What the actual fuck?
I'm rather impressed that Foundry is able to do these things.
Dude!
Probably everyone has their sound off. You would be hearing the sound if you have it on.
I have this
Okay.
goddamn opening memorizing this.
So, memes aside, what really happens to us?
This did happen to you. I did leave it in a little bit too long.
Are we still snake people or elephants or whatever?
Well, you look down and just see a flash. And then you are somewhere. The universe spins around you in ways your brains cannot begin to process. A deep voice speaks in your mind. How did you get here? And then another blinding flash. When you're able to blink your sight back, you find yourself standing in a room. Soft white light emanates from unknown sources. Everything looks kind of modern.
Wait.
Are we together in this room?
You are.
What? What? I'm so confused.
Is the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? Yo, this ain't cool. This ain't cool.
Okay, so guys, important lesson. Next time we find a mystery door, we don't open it.
Firstly, my brain's kind of shorted out like the fuck.
A large empty room that appears almost modern to those from the 20th to 21st centuries, but bewildering to others. It is lit by some hidden source that doesn't flicker like fire. Everything looks metallic. 6 columns line the central room and sliding doors line the walls on both sides.
Could we all take a moment to just hold hands and remind ourselves that whatever the hell is happening to us, we still have each other, and that matters.
At least until one of us disappears into God knows what and never returns.
Well, some of us returned, so even if we vanish, we still have each other, and we'll be back. Mina's gonna hold out her hands to Lady V and Maria.
What is this? What is this? I don't know.
None of us know what this is, but we'll find out. Lady V, seriously, take my hand.
You're gonna have to grab it because she is absolutely frozen.
Yeah, pretty.
Okay.
And Maria's like just moving around and like slapping her tail on the floor and on the wall. And
All right, Yuna's gonna grab both of their hands and just say, one thing at a time, one moment at a time, 1 minute at a time. We're gonna figure all this out. Trust me.
Elric will look up in the air and say, "Computer, status report."
Nothing happens.
Right. Now, are we still speaking common, or did we switch back to English?
No, you're in common. You're still in your Hanya world or bodies, and still speaking in those languages. And do an investigation check if you'd like of your surroundings. Closer investigation to everyone except Yuna. Shows that while the place kind of looks metallic, it's really just cleverly disguised stone. So you're standing on stone, the columns are made of stone. It just seems to have been made to look as shiny as possible.
well polished.
Well polished indeed.
Door looked like it had a hasty paint job, and this place it's made look like something else. Someone is putting up an act for us.
Us or somebody else. We might not be the only ones.
True. Everyone, thank you for the RP, and soon, freaking fantastic job, man.
Oh, wait, thank you.
And it's a little hard to surprise me, but you freaking accomplished it.
It's like as soon as I step on Load's grab, I'm like, you bastard.
Oh, also, Lady V, with your 19, something pricks the back of your mind that it looks kind of familiar in a way, but you're not sure if it's from just movies you haven't seen movies, from something in your past or something from this life. You're not 100% sure. It just, for some reason, this whole room just kind of, it's like deja vu.
Dude.
La 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 la.
last time on a Gathering Storm, we went through the Blood Gate and things got freaky. Lady V, perhaps you'd like to tell this part since it was sort of in your backstory?
Since upon going to the river, they had found the door and started to investigate. But upon investigating that door, well, it seemed to not be of this world. It took them and teleported them through various worlds and landed them into a mysterious laboratory of sorts. Upon so, the party did venture through it and discovered that V wasn't the only one of her kind. They discovered dozens upon dozens of them, all varying in size. And at the end of it, they did find someone, or something, depending on your person, a rather small gnome who appeared to know V very closely, calling her a daughter. But sadly, before any answers could be taken up, they were transported back to wonderful Sunder and left with more questions than answers.
You could say that the gate sucked.
In his own way.
Thankfully, during our short visit, the nimble-fingered Ray managed to sticky paw us some pretty decent loot.
And of course, that one item being of a interesting staff that apparently could be able to create mage armor and multiple other things, which is not at the moment attuned to anyone, but was given to V at a point. And so now she kind of carries it around. At this point, it's still stuck at the end because she forgot to grab it.
Also a fair amount of quiche.
Indeed.
Trying to think what actually happened after that.
Well, after that, you went to the inn. And, after that you went to the blacksmith. And made a deal that for V's infusion prowess, they would give you all the equipment you need for free. So she just needs to infuse 20 things, and she's infused 17, or 3 so far, so she only has 17 more to go. And then everyone put in orders for stuff. So weapons and armor should be coming out soon. And then to the inn, where you had a lovely evening of discovering that they have a limited but hopefully delicious menu.
Yeah, the meat chunks. They're meatlicious.
And found a variety of minor magical items that apparently the party had found sometime before you started taking over their bodies. And for whatever reason had kind of left them sitting around in the rooms, considering them not important enough to take with them, but not unimportant enough to throw away.
The worst sword ever.
Including the best sword ever.
Worst sword ever.
Yes, poor Sonia is having an issue with a rather clingy Excalibur.
I swear to God.
Oh, actually that wasn't all, because wait, did we do the bread before or after? Was that all in the Discord?
Yeah, that was in Discord. That was the night before, but we really should address the whole start of the fight between Elric Jim and Lady V.
So that's going to carry into this. Yes, we did a lot in Discord this past 2 weeks.
We were thriving there.
I could not even really keep track half the time, you guys.
Kinda same, other than the drama.
And there was plenty of drama.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I remember. Is there was a lot of drama, and Maria's had it up to here with y'all.
So we should probably explain this in the LOC way, just so folks get the full context. So, we also went to visit the dwarf, Kamitsko, whom apparently recognized Elric and had previously tasked him to intimidate the baker because she was having psychic visions of the baker beating his daughter.
But before that, you went to the baker not knowing that and discovered you had been a jerk to him, so you apologized profusely, only to find out that you had been sent there purposely to piss him off.
Yeah, that was a rough day.
So now there is consternation because of the politics of a small town. You can't just go accusing a pillar of the community of things that some people in town might not even be considering to be, bad, because it's just, oh, you're allowed to spank your child. And it's your word based on someone who had visions and hasn't actually seen it firsthand versus this pillar of the community. So it's a touchy situation.
It's further complicated because what exactly do you use as proof in these circumstances? We can't get pictures, we can't get audio. About the only way we could possibly prove this guy's crime is either get a bunch of witness accounts, and after Mayor Mercer told us to be subtle about the matter, can't do that, or a confession. But in the back of Jim's mind, he's working on a plan to get just such a confession.
Dun dun dun. You also discovered the Blouse house, which, although it looks sort of like a cheese shop from the outside, is actually where the flying mice come in to deliver and pick up packages to deliver throughout the kingdom. They're adorable.
You mean they look delicious?
And then last but certainly not least, because it's going to lead right into where we begin today, the drama at the end.
So, in the usual sort of Zen manner of, hey, I'll throw in this funny line because it can't possibly explode into a freaking plot-dividing thing, I had Jim suggest he had to examine a brain in order to learn the Detect Thoughts spell.
Because that put our local 18th or 19th century morals robot into a tizzy for body desecration, very different.
Yeah. And unfortunately, to that remark, it did send a bit of a fright through her entire system, thinking he was meaning, well, let's Frankenstein a lot of things, which did not sit well.
Yeah, as it happens, Elric's sort of more highfalutin elven influence kind of took over there and didn't exactly work to calm down the situation.
Eventually that night things were calmed down some. V left and went to the blacksmith again to work on some stuff. And Yuna went with her and they kind of had a chat. Wait, that wasn't Yuna. Was that Yuna?
Which night are you talking about?
When they went to the blacksmith and Lady B was looked over to see if she could take her leg off. But yes, it was Yuna who talked with her and tried to tell her to apologize, and she promised she would, but obviously, as the next day came around, that did not work out.
Well, it
Yeah.
did work out until it kind of exploded again when Elric went to the mayor's office and asked to look at the bodies and was told, no, you're the one who wants to desecrate their brains. And things kind of got out of hand.
It hasn't happened yet, but it will. It absolutely will.
We're getting there.
So when we left the party on the Discord text RP, Elric, no Jim, was now marching off, speaking in a rather different vocations vernacular, leading, I believe it was Maria and Sonia, to track down the Fatung dealers. Fatung? However it's pronounced.
And Elric is being called the kind of names you don't repeat in polite company.
Good thing V's in the mayor's house then. Haha.
Oh, they're in Spanish.
But as of right now, yes, everything is rather heated and not going exactly great.
Just to put it into context for folks, my original plan was to have Elric put on his mysterious stranger disguise, poke his head in the office, see if Suggy recognized him, then set the desk on fire and walk away. Rationalizing, so long as Suggy wasn't harmed, it wasn't a crime.
Of note, while we're waiting then, a couple other smaller things people are looking into. The continued absence of Kuntuni, the witch/doctor who lives in the dilapidated mansion at the top of the hill. And also, there's the somewhat ailing Piff, the wife of the half-orc blacksmith, who seems very frail and whom last night the town's resident other centaur suggested perhaps Foof is poisoning Piff for some reason.
Okay, so I had put together a little list. So next up on the list it is Ellie. I don't know if you had made any plans for Terps, but the next thing on my list was to either check on Piff or Poof, and either that or talk to the kid with V.
Tux was thinking about going and checking on the sick blacksmith.
All right, the blacksmith then.
All right, so you head past the gate where you happen to notice a couple of red-haired dwarf women just kind of giggling to each other behind it. And up to the blacksmith where Piff and Foof are back outside. Foof is working on something at the table, and Piff is sitting back in her chair looking pale. And they see you come up, and Piff smiles and says, "Oh, hi again."
Hey, you two. Well, I'm here. If you have the time right now, I'm here to see if maybe I can help you with your health issues, Piff. And Terps, what was it you wanted here?
To check on her. And then I'm supposed to be measured for stuff to go over the horse spirit's body.
Yeah, Foof turns around and says, "Oh yes, let's get that done." So she pulls out her measuring tape-like object and starts doing some more measurements. All right, bend your knee. All right, now bend this knee. In the meantime, Piff looks at you and says, "What do you mean, I'm fine."
You are. You don't have to. You don't have to be brave for me. I know a thing or two about healing, and I can tell.
You can tell what?
You're quite pale, among possibly other things.
I just have a pale skin. I promise you I'm fine.
Really? Because you just coughed.
People cough.
Yeah, but there are reasons why people cough.
Your wife is worried about you.
Foof looks over her shoulder and kind of nods as she's measuring. Piff just sighs. All right. But again, there's nothing you can do for me. Or for us.
What makes you say that?
Because I've already asked. I've checked all the temples. And it's gone too far now.
What's gone too
One
far?
place that might be able to help us, but now I didn't want to go there. I didn't want to take the chance, but now it's our last hope, and now she's just too weak to make the trip. I don't think we
Which
can.
was that?
That's Piff.
Was that Foof saying that?
Nope, that's Piff.
Piff's the one who's sick.
Piff is the one who looks sick, and she's the one who just said that.
Yeah. Yeah, she said she's too weak to make the trip.
That is correct.
Oh, she means Foof is too weak to make the trip?
That is what you understand from her statement, yes.
Okay.
Foof looks over her shoulder incredulously.
Well, you may have tried every other place, but that was before you met me. So why don't we see if there's anything that I can do for you? And
You can try. Foof, honey, come here, please. And the half-orc stands up and walks to her, and Piff puts her hand on her arm and says, I didn't want to tell you, but I'm sorry, I should have. You're dying. And Foof is like, what? And Piff just closes her eyes and says, you have a bone rot. You've had it for months. Every night I've just been pouring all of my essence, my energy into you to keep you alive. And I was hoping I would be able to find a cure. And I've contacted every temple. I've contacted everyone I can think of. And the only place that offers any kind of cure is at the pools of vision. And Foof just tightens up and says, those bird brains? And Piff nods and says, yes, and I don't know if I believe it, but they're the only ones who I can think of who might still be able to save you. And Foof is like, what are you talking about? I feel fine. And Piff nods and says, I know. But I can't keep doing this, or I will waste away. And I would gladly give myself if I knew that it meant that you would live, but once I'm gone, you would follow soon after. It's only because of what I've been able to do at nights that you're still alive now. And Foof just looks at her in disbelief. And Piff just closes her eyes and kind of goes, and settles back in her chair.
alright, so you're actually the one who's sick. She points it at Fluff. You have some kind of healing ability, and you've been pushing yourself past your limits trying to keep her alive. She points at Piff.
It's not healing. I've just been giving her my life essence, if you will. And Foof just looks dumbfounded. But now it's too late. If I saved up my strength to go to the pools of vision, she would die. And in the condition I'm in now, if we tried to go, I would die. So we have to stay here. Look, I hate to ask this of you. You've already done so much for us. But if you could go for us and just see if the seers at the pools of vision, if there's anything they can do.
Okay,
We'll give
tell
you-
me about the pools of vision, and what exactly are you looking for from them?
There's seers at the pools of vision, and they're rumored to have otherworldly abilities, things that no one else can do. People have gone there with debilitating diseases and chopped off limbs, and they say they went there and they were healed. And it's just a rumor, and no one knows if it's true, and we just don't know if it's real or not, and no, we just don't know. But it's the only chance we have left.
Okay, and where are these pools of vision?
It's not too far. It's let's see here.
north and east,
80.
past Kellen.
So, it's maybe a 2 or 3 day trip, depending on how fast you go. Just go north past Kellen, and then you take the right road, and you're there. About 120 miles OOC.
Okay. How long have you been doing this? And when did you first notice that this bone rot?
Oh, about 3 or 4 months ago, she had a fainting spell, and Foof was like, "I hit my head," and Piff says, "Yes, after you fell down when you fainted." And then she was just more clumsy than usual, and her lovely green texture started to become paler. And Foof again is looking at her like, "What are you talking about?" Okay, so it's about 3 days if you went 40 miles a day. Which I guess I could have done that math in my head. Haha. And I asked around and took a trip to Auberdant and talked to the temple there, all the temples there actually. And then we took a trip to Berhala, and I had them look at her, and Foof goes, "That's what that was about?" She says, "Yes. You told me we were just there to..." I know. And all the priests, they tried all the healing they had, and it has not helped. And they said she would be dead within a month. And that was 2 months ago. And every night, I just give her everything I have.
What exactly are you doing to yourself?
I told you, I'm just giving her as much of my life energy as I can spare and still keep myself alive.
Yeah, but you said it's not it's not magic. Is it through some kind of pact with a god?
No,
Just
it is magic. It's I'm a sorceress. It is magic. It's not healing magic, which is what you suggest.
I see. All right. So you've been doing this for 3
Yes.
months now. Do you have any idea how much longer you'd be able to go?
Well, clearly I have brought myself to the point where it's obvious. So, no, I don't know how much longer I can do this. Maybe days, maybe weeks. I mean, I will go for eternity if I can, but this body is too frail for maybe a month at most.
So if we couldn't find anything to cure Foof right here and now, then we may be able to find some way to rejuvenate you and give us more time to find a cure.
Perhaps. She doesn't look too hopeful.
All right. First things first. Guidance twice and medicine checks on both of them.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, that did something. Okay. Didn't play the sound. Medicine 1 and 2. Okay, so that's 13. 13 for Piff, 21 for Foof.
Well, from what you can tell, Piff just looks exhausted. There's just dark circles under her eyes, and she just looks like she's been up for 3 days straight. Foof, on the surface, looks hearty and healthy and everything, but you can, as you're studying her and as Uktuk is kind of flowing through you, you can kind of sense a darkness deep inside her, a sickness or a rot that just kind of settles somewhere deep inside her all along, like, well, basically it seems to be following where you expect her bones would be. So you can kind of sense the rot there. It's like X-ray.
Yeah, I see. I can feel it. It's there. It's definitely there.
Foof just, well, she's a dark green and now she's a pale green as she just takes this all in, and she kind of stumbles back and sits down on the ground next to Piff in her chair. Their heads are actually pretty close to even that way.
All right. Let me do something. Let me do something else that my player just remembered. That will give me more accurate information, since I'm going to be asking these people about a cure. And she's going to cast detect poison and disease.
Okay. All right. So you sense, well, a few small poisonous objects kind of in the general area on tables and things from some of the things that she works with. And you can also get a very strong sense of disease from Foof. And I just put into the chat there, the Snoocho Chu is what it's called in the Loxodon language.
And what does that translate to?
Basically bone rot. Well, not basically. It translates to spoiled bones is actually what it translates to if you're going to put it into common.
This rot, does it have a specific point of origin in Foof's body?
Perhaps it did at one point. Now it's spread all throughout all her bones. It's like having bone cancer.
Oh, so if transferring her life force didn't actually impede its spread?
If you happen to be proficient in Arcana, you're not. Terps is. Terps can make an Arcana check.
Yeah, it did. I got a 12.
Well, that's good enough for you to kind of, you can't see the disease per se, but you can kind of see that Foof herself just kind of seems to glow with a magic energy herself. It doesn't seem to be like really part of her, but as if it's just kind of holding her up. She is, in short, kind of a living zombie, sort of.
Okay. Terps gonna come. Is this bone rot something that is natural or is it inflicted?
Oh, no one knows where it comes from. It just, sometimes it strikes people. And Foof says, probably came from the swamp. She sounds bitter. That could be. The swamp is a very dirty place.
I feel attacked.
And Foof says, well, thank you for not saying I told you so, at least. And Piff just kind of quietly smiles.
Can you do anything to help her? She'll look at you.
I honestly don't know. Unfortunately, unfortunately, what you've been doing, Piff, it's been keeping her alive, but it hasn't impeded the disease at all. It's everywhere.
I know.
At this point, short of finding a cure that would be this good, yeah, you're really all that's keeping her alive.
I know. They're both kind of crying silently now and holding on to each other.
I'll go to these pools of vision and ask about it.
Thank you.
See what they can do. But I don't want to just leave without finding some way to keep you going, Piff, even a little while longer. Maybe some healing will work. She's gonna cast a healing word on Piff.
Ha! That's better. Still a terrible roll, though.
Okay, and what's that for?
I was giving her a luck roll. But first I had to find out what her luck was.
Oh.
So you cast the healing spell. And you do see the scrape on her knee that she got from some point in the past 24 hours goes away. And she looks maybe slightly better. You're not 100% sure how effective it was. But she smiles at you and says, "Thank you."
I feel like I feel like there's something more I should be able to do to just restore you. It seems strange that even other priests at temples couldn't do that.
It's just uncurable. But hopefully the seers know of a way.
I know a way. It's called Reach Level 3.
What's at level 3?
Lesser Restoration. It removes disease.
Wait, does you not actually have a spell that can heal her?
Not yet. If she gets one more level, then yeah, she can cast it.
This one might be restoration resistant.
Restoration proof. Yes. As in, damn it, you're going on this side quest.
Well, it's less a side quest and more. You'd think they would have tried that at the temples. But maybe they couldn't afford lesser restoration.
Yeah, it's just one of those hilarious things with a divine caster in the party. Oh no, the king's dying. What happened? Lesser restoration.
Oh,
He's saved.
saved.